of the shows that we look forward to the most is where we get to choose our favorite destinations of this past season's travels. Hi, I'm Jake de Boer, and today on the Travel Magazine, Mieke and I have each selected our personal favorites that we call Best of the Best. My most favorite destination in Germany is without any doubt Schloss Neuschwanstein, simply because the caretaker was so interesting, and he'd lived there for over 30 years, and they call him King Ludwig III.
The Schwangau area is a very beautiful area. We have a very beautiful landscape here. We have lakes, mountains, and a very intact nature here. And of course, our two highlights here, our two castles.
People's fascination with castles is not lost in Hohenschwangau. It is one of the most popular tourist attractions in the region.
Hohenschwangau is the older castle. It was already built by the Knights of Schwangau. Ludwig II, the great king of Bavaria, spent most of his time, most of his life here in Schwangau, in the castle of Hohenschwangau, his childhood and his youth.
The late Walt Disney was so impressed with Neuschwanstein that he modeled the Disney castle after it. Thanks to this, it is probably one of the most recognized landmarks in the world. The legacy of the castle lives on with its caretaker, whom the locals affectionately refer to as King Ludwig III.
I lived here now for more than 30 years, and it was a very fine job. I liked it very much. The story of King Ludwig is very interesting, and it was my hobby. King Ludwig became king with 18 years, and in his youth time, his teachers said, "You will be a king, an absolutely king." And now he was the king, and he would say what the people shall do, and he couldn't say it because the parliament said it. And so he said, "I want to have my own world where I can be an absolutely king," and he built this castle for him alone, not for the other people, only for him alone. And here he was an actor, like in a theater. He played here the king, and this was his life.
The interior is equally as breathtaking as the outside, with each one of the rooms carefully restored to its original grandeur.
You know, Jake, and then there is the island of Kauai, the real spirit of the Hawaiian Islands. I thought it was wonderful, the white sandy beaches, making hula dresses, doing the hula dancing.
I wished you'd do that at home sometime. You were so good at it.
I need a dress for that.
When one thinks of Hawaii, the traditional hula dance and skirt making come to mind.
These are the tea leaves, spelled T-I rather than T-E-A. You can't make tea out of these.
What am I holding the string?
You're holding the string because we have to, that's the base to tie the leaves onto in order to make the skirt. Okay, you see you have the rib there, and in order to tie this end around the cord there, you have to take the rib out. If you hold that string taut here, okay, then this goes around, and just like you tie a tie, you put it on there, and then the top of the leaf is where you get the tie there. The hula, of course, is one of the things that Hawaii is known for. But originally, the hula was a ritual dance and done only by men. After the the ritual dance. Then the men made their fatal mistake.
They always do, you know.
Yes, it's
You
true
know.
all the time.
Yeah.
They taught the women how to dance. And as in anything, the women took over.
Oh, absolutely.
That's just simple. The name of the song is Nani Hanalei. Well, you know all of this is Hanalei. And so you start out going to the right, and you're looking down on the valley. And then you tell about the valley as you make the mountains. Okay, let's try that. Here we go, one for free now. Just a wave. Nani Hanalei. O Hanalei kualoha, kanania o Hanalei. Hohi, now hug, hug. Aloha,
And a favorite destination is, of course, Holland.
I knew that.
And Utrecht especially, because it has canals, bridges, but it's the clock museum that I really enjoy. A must in Utrecht is the National Museum.
Here we are in a medieval church. It's quite funny that exactly here is situated the National Museum, from musical clock to street organ, or in Dutch, van speelklok tot pierement. The museum was built in 1956, and then there was, of course, a very small collection. Only a few pieces, a few organs and a few disc musical boxes, for example. And right now we have a collection of about 900 pieces, of which 600 are in constant playing condition. Automata like this one were made in France and at the end of the 19th century in Paris. But it's very difficult to get the original Pierrot. So we decided to make a copy of it, or at least a man in Switzerland, Michel Bertrand, made a copy. So we can show this Pierrot exactly the way it worked 100 years ago to our public. The violin player, made in Germany in 1910, is one of the most famous instruments of this museum. It was for the first time presented to a large public in 1910 during the World Exhibition in Brussels. You will see 3 violins playing together with a piano, without a violin player and without a piano player.
We'll be back with more of our favorite destinations right after this, so stay with us.
You know, another very exciting moment I had was in the sidecar of a Russian motorbike and traveling through a fishing village, Luderiks.
It had me worried, I must tell you.
You know where Luderiks was? Africa.
Of course. You can imagine the curiosity that was aroused when Mika took a tour of the town in the sidecar of a Russian-built motorcycle.
Right, Mika, I'm now going to take you to some places where your husband wouldn't take you. In this wonderful town of ours, Ludritz. It was founded in 1884, but it was really built up only after the discovery of diamonds, which was in 1907. But the style of the houses you see around here is Jugendstil, which is basic German turn-of-a-century architecture. Thought that we could use a nice motorbike like this with a sidecar to take tourists around the desert and also around the town. But the problem was getting one. I contacted the Eurotech, it's a Russian company, which makes a copy of the German BMW we used to be made during World War II. So I contacted them and asked them whether they could send me some information on this motorbike. They didn't send me a pamphlet, they sent me the whole motorcycle.
That's wonderful. You should give me the address, you know.
Keeping the house clean, of course, is a bit of a problem because when the wind does come up, you've got dust all over the place. But you get used to that. And you get used to other little ways of living here. I mean, you never chew with your teeth quite together. That way you don't chew sand. And other problems, especially for me, unfortunately, there's a shortage of women in this town. So I'm very, very glad to have such a beautiful blonde sitting next to me in the sidecar for the whole town to see. I'm sure they're all very jealous.
Yeah, yes, I see so.
New Orleans, how do you say it again?
New Orleans.
Bourbon Street, jazz music,
Food and cooking.
and antique shops.
Probably the reason most people come to New Orleans is food and the music, but a close third is antiques. It's what New Orleans is becoming especially known for. It's one of the 4 great antique cities in the world. We're a broad antique store that specializes in a lot of things, but one of the collections that we just purchased are these walking sticks that just came in that are quite special. This is a sword cane, and obviously quite rare, one of 3 or 4 known like this with the Toledo blade. Well, this is much more ladylike right here.
Ladylike.
This one right here
Yeah.
is much more ladylike. This cane right here is probably the only cane that was ever illegal from the day it was made. It has razor blades on it. And this was used during the French rioters in the 1830s. Both ladies and gentlemen wore canes. They didn't use them, they wore them, just as you wear a tie or,
Yes.
you wear a blouse.
Yeah.
They wore a cane. It was part of their daily outfit. Now this is a lady's cane, an extremely rare one. Used by ladies when they didn't want their makeup to melt when they were standing next to a fire. This is a very rare one, used to walk dogs with. And of course, when you wanted to call your dog, dog whistle.
Yeah, I think we can use it.
You'd like that, eh?
Takes a second to set up, but it's worth the time it takes.
Okay.
These are called system canes or gimmick canes or gadget canes, but this is, of all the canes ever made, this is the premier example of a gadget cane, and thus the most expensive, of course. and it sold for $19,500.
When? Just recently?
Yesterday. You put it up, and
Can I give it a try?
I'm sure you can do better than I.
We'll be back with more of the Travel Magazine right after this, so stay with us.
You know what was one of the most exciting places for me to visit? Swakopmund, in the southern part of Africa.
I knew it.
In the oldest desert in the world, on a camel. I thought that was a real experience.
Swakop has a lot of German history. We have a lot of old buildings, so it gives it a very German feel to the town. German is one of the main languages spoken in Swakopmund. There are day tours available from Swakopmund for people who would like to go have a guided tour into the desert. Camel rides are available just outside Swakopmund from the camel farm. You can take rides through to the dunes, or you can ride around the Swakopmund riverbed.
You know, I feel like I'm Lawrence of Arabia, you know, a woman Lawrence of Arabia.
They actually came here with some young South Africans who had decided to do something different. So they had borrowed themselves some camels, wanting to go a far distance, so they went through whole of Botswana, whole of Namibia to be able to cross the big deserts in South Africa, and they ended their tour here in Swakopmund. From here they should have returned the camels back to the farms where they borrowed them, and then I got the idea, that's my camels. So I bought a few of those, and since the camels are happy here, and many people have enjoyed the camels.
Do you see the different colors in this desert? Yeah, they say when you come here, you cry, and when you leave the place, you also cry. If I look from here and I only see desert and desert and desert, it is amazing. The oldest desert, this is the oldest desert. This is not the largest desert, but this is the oldest desert in the world.
And for any of you who are wondering, riding a camel is not as easy as it looks.
Jake, I think you're too heavy for that camel. Oh, the camel doesn't want to carry Jake anymore. Oh, we're going to get up. So, Jake, what city do you really think that I will have to include in the best of the best?
It must be somewhere in Africa.
No, I think it is here in our hometown, the city of Toronto. Because here we have everything here, and we had a chance to visit the Hockey Hall of Fame.
And you were good at it.
This facility is a place that really traces the history of the game of hockey, pays tributes to the greats of the game of hockey, houses certainly the largest collection of hockey artifacts in the world. But at the same time, we've really put it into a modern setting, which is why you perhaps will see an old pair of ice skates from the late 1800s, but right beside that will be a computer terminal that you can find out information on. The other big part of sort of the modern end of the Hall of Fame is the interactive technology, where not only are there a lot of things for you to see here, we give you a lot of things to do. So you can actually, for instance, go into a broadcast booth and do your own play-by-play of some of the all-time famous goals. We also have our own little mini ice rink, which is made out of plastic ice, which is actually skatable on real skates, and from time to time we will hold clinics there with some hockey greats to really be showing the audience some of the skills involved with the game. But that's where you get your chance, again, to see how your hockey skills are. We give you a hockey stick and a puck, and you can either shoot at a target or another game out there where you become the goaltender. And again, through the wonders of modern technology, we put you in net and you have computerized pucks being fired at you, so you can test your skills as a goaltender.
This is not as easy as you think it is. Where is it? That is it.
Montreal, the second largest French-speaking city in the world. Very romantic, a lot of memories for you and I thought the carriage ride was fabulous.
I thought so too. You know, some of the things here reminds me of Amsterdam. The old warehouses.
Yeah.
You know, and because it's here where the harbor is.
You know that actually the port of Montreal I find very unique, and it has a special place for me because I arrived here on April the 1st, 1954. It was at 6 o'clock in the morning by plane from Europe, and it was 40 degrees below zero.
Were you 4 years old then?
Absolutely, you know I was. Do you remember when we started going out together?
This is the place.
This is the place.
That's right.
The name of our company, Bonaventure Travel Productions.
You're right.
We picked it right here in this city because it would be a bilingual name. I think it was your idea.
Oh, all those things are my ideas.
Well, of course.
Well, that is it for the best of the best. Please join us again on the next edition of the Travel Magazine.